First, they hit him with murder charges, including the candy store hit. And this is when it all circles back to the Abe story. So I don't know if you remember, my Abe story ended with Honest Abe turning his back on all of his mob family and testifying against them.
Mm-hmm.
Funny, I remembered this because it was such a crazy name. Do you remember Abe was called the canary who could sing but not fly? Lepke, who I've just talked about, he was the one that Abe came out and testified against.
Oh, and then if you can remind our listeners what Abe did, why he was called that.
So, yeah, he was called that. So this circles back to the Abe story because Abe was he was another hitman of the time. So, but his story runs parallel to this one. But he was involved with all of these same people.
Mm-hmm.
And then Abe turned on Lepke, who I just gave you a history lesson on. But then Lepke would, and some of his friends would go on to carry one more murder. Abe was basically like tossed off the balcony at an apartment and found dead, like splat on the ground. So they called him the canary who could sing but not fly.
Yes. He could give it all away, but turns out he couldn't survive a fall.
Yes.
Who can? I'm with you, Abe.
Yeah. So Lepke's found guilty because of Abe's testimony, and he's sentenced to the electric chair.
Oh, my God.
So he's sentenced to the electric chair, and then 76 years ago today being March 4th, he was executed. He is the only major mafia leader to die by electric chair.
Wow.
And then I have a list of like fun facts I want to give.
Oh, yes.
So the killers hired by Lepke made $1,000 to $5,000 per hit, which is as much as $70,000 today per hit.
Okay.
And the victims were never just shot, like except the candy store owner, because the goal of Murder Inc. was to leave a message. So the murders were always super brutal. And I'm talking meat cleavers and ice picks brutal.
Oh, God.
One man was set on fire and left in a parking lot.
No.
Another was killed and strapped to a slot machine for the public to see. Just like killed, and they tied his body to a slot machine so people would find him.
Wow.
By 1940, Murder Inc. was so powerful and seemingly invincible that they began killing in broad daylight. It's like with the kid, like they were just walking up and like killing people in broad daylight, not even trying to hide it, because I assume they're paying off cops, like, whatever.
Yeah. They feel like they're unstoppable, which they were for a little while.
And I thought this was fascinating. So Thomas Dewey, the DA I talked about, he was a district attorney, but he was also dabbling in politics and trying to run for office. So at one point before all of this happened, Lepke approached Thomas Dewey and was like, yo, I can help you with your political career. Like, let's get in bed together. Let's make an alliance. Like, whatever. But Dewey turned him down. And what's super interesting, so Thomas Dewey, he ended up running for president against FDR.
Oh, wow.
Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And, like, think about it, though. If he had taken Lepke's help, would he have beaten FDR? Like, if you're in with the,
I mean, imagine the America we would have today.
Right. This is a big thing that could have changed history. Because if Lepke was as powerful as I think he was, maybe he could have made Dewey president.
Yeah.
Which is just, I don't know. I thought that was fascinating.
Wow. I didn't know that.
Yeah. And then at the end, Lepke was offered the chance to keep his life if he became an informant, but he refused. His wife and son pleaded with him, but he was basically like, they're going to execute me at some point anyways. I'd just rather them kill me now.
Yeah.
Lepke's last words were, quote, I am anxious to have it clearly understood that I did not offer to talk and give information in exchange for any promise of commutation of my death sentence. He used his last breath to preserve his reputation.
Wow.
Like, he literally used his dying breath to be like, I want all of you to know I wasn't going to tell them anything.
I'm not sure I would do that. I'd be like, all right, here's everything.
But, like, that's what was important to him. Like, he didn't want to rat people out, and he wanted to use his last breath to be like, I was never going to rat you out. Like, I wasn't going to do it.
Oh, a good friend through and through.
His last meal was roast chicken, potatoes, and salad.
Oh, yum.
Which is boring, but I bring that up because Louis Capone, who has no relation to Al Capone.
Oh, never mind.
No relation, but
I thought you were going to say Louis Capaldi. I was like, yes.
No, Louis Capone and Emmanuel Mandy Weiss. So they were involved in the candy shop owner too. So they were all executed with Lepke. But the reason I bring up his last meal is because that was Lepke's last chosen meal. And these two were executed. They ordered the same last meal so they could follow their boss's orders to the end.
Oh, I know these are bad people, but that's very sweet.
Yeah, so they are bad people, but it is interesting to see like the honor they had at the end. Like he's like, I will not rat people out, and they're like, we've got your back. Like it was a very different time. Like it's hard to wrap our minds around this being this is what America used to be, right? Like organized crime was open. It was, I don't know, but it's fascinating to me, this time period.
The Mafia, a story of friendship.
Yes.
A story of loyalty.
That's my story for March 4th, because that's his execution date that ties back to my 20s story.
That's so fun that you found something that is linked to that. Excuse you. Bless you. All those things. Very fun. Mine is, oh, okay.
Is that loud?
I mean, I heard it.
It kind of stunk.
Oh, no. Please don't. No. Well, mine has a couple similarities to yours.
Wait, before you start, get us a beer.
Do you want to get it or do you want me to get it?
I want you to get it.
Okay, Olivia.
Okay, bye.
Okay, so we have another beer for you.
Well, for us, I'm not sharing with them.
True. You barely shared with me with that boy. So my story is in London, England. About a Cockney fella. A Cockney fella from London. All right, so we have the Wells Bombardier Glorious English Premium Ale.
That's the greatest beer name I've ever...
The Wells Bombardier.
Yes.
It's the finest English malt and hop since 18...
You can't say bomb.
76. What? Oh, no, I did not fall for that.
You can't say bomb. What if my job was a bombardier? I'm a bombardier. Bomb. What movie is that from?
I don't know.
Meet the Parents.
Oh.
When he being Ben Stiller at the end.
I haven't seen that movie in a very long time.
That's my favorite scene. He's on the plane. He's having his freak out because he wants to put his suitcase in the upper thing, but it won't fit. And he's like, it's not like it's a bomb.
Yeah,
and she's like,
I forgot about that.
Oh, you can't say bomb on an airplane. He goes, what if I'm a bombardier? Bomb. Literally my favorite movie scene in like any movie.
I highly doubt that.
You may pour yourself more.
Pass me your glass.
Okay.
Oi.
Go. Thank you, darling. Cheers.
Oh. Yet another beer that tastes exactly like all the other British beers. I'm sorry.
Listen, England.
You're consistent.
Oh, wait. I have a question for Ireland. I heard a rumor that you serve all of your beers warm, and I would like to know why. For God's sakes, why?
First, if it's true. Second, why?
Why?
Yeah, why?
Tell us if it's true and why. We want an email or something from an Irish person, and we want to know why. We demand an explanation. I heard you serve them all warm except Coors Light. I don't fucking drink Coors Light, so...
me neither.
Help a brother out.
Yes, we need to know why you do the things you do.
Thank you. That is all.
Are you ready for just a strange story?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, Sarah talked this up.
Oh, stop.
She said this is her. I'm buckling in. No, I'm excited.
You're setting high expectations.
I have high expectations. I'm going to shut up. Go.
I told her it was the best story I've ever written. I don't know if that's true, but like, I'm very proud.
We will be the judge.
Yeah. You guys will definitely let me know. So
I'm going to write a bad review if I don't like this story.
You're going to write a 1-star review of our own podcast.
Speaking of reviews, fucking
Seriously.
leave us reviews.
What is happening?
Please leave us a review. Don't make me beg. I will beg.
I can't read the same 184 every morning. I need a new one.
I will get on my hands and knees and beg, but I don't want to do it. But I will. I will not, but I might.
She might in our stories. And also, like, how are we going to ever get better if you don't let us know?
Help us.
We're not.
No, not an option. Leave us a review.
It's not an option.
I've had too many. Okay, go. I'm going to shut up.
Okay. I'm going to tell you the incredible story of Jack Sheppard. Before I get into what that means, I'll tell you my sources. It means a man's name. How would we know? Okay.
I adore the shit out of you.
Thanks.
I was talking to them. I'm just kidding.
Oh I thought you were going to say I was talking to the beer. Like, excuse me, I'm having a moment over here.
I was talking to the beer.
We didn't even say what the beer tastes like. Oh, wait, we did. We said everything else.
It tastes like every other goddamn English beer.
Yeah, but
I am mouthy this episode.
It has a little more personality than other ones.
Yeah, that's true. It did tell me to go fuck myself.
Look it in the eye. Okay. Sources. Forgotten Lives. It's a channel on YouTube. Just this guy. It's kind of like a podcast, but it's a guy who makes vlogs, sort of.
Thank you, Guy.
Thank you. Britannica.
Thank you.
An article by Mike Patterson for London Historians. An article by Ben Johnson for historicuk.com.
Ben Johnson sounds like another nickname for a penis.
Then wait for the next one.
Oh, gosh.
An article by Carl Smallwood. I'm not kidding. That was on factfiend.com. Executedtoday.com. Caitlin is like leaning against the wall. She's away from the microphone.
Composed.
And then the last one is an article by Tihana Radeska for the Vintage News. Okay, so before I get into this strange story of Jack Sheppard, I wanted to talk about a few other things that happened on March 4th around the world.
Okay.
March 4th, 1792. Oranges are
Columbus Shield, the ocean blue.
Oranges are introduced to Hawaii.
Thank you.
March 4th, 1877. Tchaikovsky premieres an incomplete ballet. March 4th, 1966. John Lennon says, "We, the Beatles, are more popular than Jesus."
He said that?
Yes, on March 4th, apparently. I bring to you the story of a folk hero to London's lower classes deemed to have committed the sexiest prison escapes known to mankind. Caitlin's interested. Jack Sheppard. Jack Sheppard was born in White's Row in Spitalfields, which was a former district in the east area of London. Jack was born on March 4th of 1702. So that's this day.
Oh, 1702.
Yep.
Okay, we're going way back.
Yeah, 1702, 1802, 1902. I mean, those I was trying to count in my head. It was a really long time.
Not in your head. We heard you.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. That was out loud. You're right. The family he was born into was extremely poor, and they had Jack baptized literally the day after he was born, which is weirdly early, but they think it was because his older brother was stillborn, so his parents didn't want to take any chances, so they baptized him right away because they were like, "Oh, he's our only baby." So Jack's parents were not that long after had another baby named Thomas and then another baby named Mary. So of the three, Jack was known as Gentleman Jack, which is weird because you mentioned that in your story, a different guy named Gentleman Jack. And he was known as this for his cunning, lovable antics. However, when Jack was 5 or so, there were varying reports. His dad died, unfortunately. His dad was a carpenter and fully supported the entire family. Keep in mind, it's the very early 1700s. And then 2 years later, little Mary died, which was devastating for the family. We don't know how, but it's the 1700s, so that's not uncommon.
Dysentery on the Oregon Trail.
In 1705 or whatever it was. So
I lost a lot of kids from dysentery on the Oregon Trail when I was in elementary school.
People just throwing down their headphones. God damn it. And they're 8 years old.
Sorry. Lost a lot of kids that way.
Instead of, this is really insensitive, instead of back in Nam, we're back on the
lost a lot of good men.
When he was only 6 years old, Jack's mother could not support the family on her own anymore, so she sent Jack to Mr. Garrett's school, which is an exceedingly optimistic name for a workhouse. They just put out the work.
Okay.
Yeah. So workhouses.
It's a work house.
Oh my God. It's mighty. No. So workhouses, they're better known as poorhouses. So they were places that allowed you to live there if you worked for your board. And so he was 6 years old and was like, guess I'm doing this.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes.
In the mirror, it looks like you're reading right to left and flipping your pages backwards. It's weird.
And that's been a wonderful series of how mirrors work with Caitlin Sparks. As a 6-year-old, Jack became an apprentice cane chair maker. I had to look this up. Cane chairs are those chairs that have the woven seat that kind of you feel like you're going to fall through when you sit in them. Guess those were popular in the 1700s. But after just a little while, his master died, unfortunately. So he got a new master who was super cruel to him for the next 4 years.
Master gave Dobby sock.
I know. I kept thinking about that when I was writing this. I was like, this is so much like Harry Potter. And then I was like, oh, wait, Harry Potter is takes place here. Like, that makes sense. When Jack was 10, he started working at a wool clothing store in central London. And that's also where his mom worked. So he was still close with his mom while he was living in this workhouse, but she just couldn't pay for him to like live at her home. And so he started working with his mom and the shop owner, whose name was William Kneebone.